requests they have pending before the Oklahoma Corporation Commission. As we are all aware, there are a number of new, large-scale, energy-intensive customers that want to come online for power. Businesses like the aluminum smelter and all of the proposed data centers that we keep hearing about. This is putting a lot of pressure on PSO to have the capacity to generate and supply the power to these new customers. As a result, 2 weeks ago, the Corporation Commission approved $1.3 billion for new generation and capacity resource projects. Ultimately, they say this is going to tack on an extra $11 a month to the average residential customer's monthly bill. I would like to meet that average residential customer. In addition to that, there's currently a case pending before the OCC where PSO is seeking a rate increase of an additional $597 million a year. Per their data, this is going to increase residential ratepayers' monthly bill by 16% and current industrial customers' bills by 22%. So just to give it context, 16% on my last month's bill. We had nice weather, I haven't been running the air conditioner. It would have been $32 extra just on this last month's bill. So this is a significant increase that they are proposing on top of the increases we've already experienced over the last few years. So what does the PSO case have to do with the smelter? We're going to talk about that Friday. And we want to let folks know how they can exercise their rights to be heard. And we don't want to wait until this is a done deal and then wring our hands and complain about how we have yet another rate increase. And so we hope to see everyone there. Thank you.
Thank you for letting us know. Okay, we're going to move on to the regular day. Discussion, consideration, and action to adopt resolution 2026-10 is establishing the Inola Community Accountable Review and Engagement Committee to serve as a contact between the Board of Trustees of the Town of Inola. You gentlemen have time to read that resolution? I'm going to go ahead and ask Eric. Did you want to make comments on this?
Yes. What I wanted to bring to your attention in regard to this is an environmental catastrophe that's unfolding right now in Ponca City. KOCO reported on May 14th about the Continental Carbon plant in Ponca City, which has been in violation of their air permit on and off for over 20 years and has been releasing carbon black to the surrounding community and effectively destroying property. And the DEQ is more or less doing nothing about it. This has been, this has been investigated repeatedly by the DEQ. There's been numerous lawsuits filed and settled by Continental Carbon. Properties have been bought out and vacated. Areas around the plant have become a wasteland, and they're still operating. Basically, we have the responsibility to prevent that from happening here. The DEQ can send a ticket in the mail, but they can't even pull you over. So if we don't step in and do something, no one will.
Okay, thank you. Brian Hill. Good evening.
Good evening. I was reading through this, and the only question that I had was on part 4. It was talking about creating and monitoring websites, email addresses, gathering information, conducting research. Is that email and website, is that going to be available through the Town of Inola will they be assigned an email so that they can upload everything?
I think that will be the committee's responsibility.
So it would be, it wouldn't have the inola.gov, it would be, you know, something else. Okay. Yeah, that was the one thing that I was curious about, was how that would be done. The second thing was, will the town hall be available for those meetings?
The town hall is always available. You just let us know when, what time, and most definitely we can have it here.
Okay, so we just need to make a schedule, put it on there, and then will we also be able to put that on your all's agenda for the website, that here's the date and the time that the meeting would be?
I don't,
Could that be put on the board out there, Scott?
We can put it on the board.
Yeah.
yeah,
So we can get it out to the public?
Yes.
yeah, we could put it on the board out by the road,
Okay,
okay?
okay. Was looking through everything and really appreciate it, and I think that we.
Did you, everything else, did you read everything else?
I did, and
Okay.
I feel like that this is a good step forward for the town and for the folks that have a voice, and I really hope that we make an impact and, you know, protect our community as we go forward. This
Yes.
isn't just singularity for the aluminum smelter, this is for the industrial park, so that we, you know, establish the baseline, and as we go forward, we grow and learn and know, and I think this is a good step forward, and I thank you.
Thank you. Janet? Good evening, Janet.
I do agree with the committee. I think it is a good thing. I'm concerned about, we're beginning to see some mass exodus from our communities. The for sale signs are going up. I have two young couples who just bought property, one just east of me and one northwest, who bought property and unsuspectingly did not know it was about the smelter. I met one of them at the smelter meeting. One of them was one of my former students. They have, since then, they had put a water tap on it. They were wanting to bring their families out here to raise their families. Both of those people have sold because they feel like that they were tricked into purchasing the land, and they don't want to raise their families out here. I hope this committee will be able to help make a connection with the people in the community that don't realize what's going on. Real estate agent from Inola was gonna move to Pryor. They backed out on him, so he can't move either. I know several people who have property in other counties. They're looking to move to those counties. We're losing our residents, and we need to take note of that. People that have lived here for years and don't want to leave. The talk in town is not of anticipation, but of dread. Well, when are you leaving? And where are you gonna go? And maybe that's what, I'm just gonna be very honest. The Port of Inola has instigated all of these businesses. They're 0 for 3 in bringing any type of business that Inola people would be proud to talk to and proud to have come to our community. The
That's
negative
right.
news stories from our paper plant make you cringe of the cases, of the, you know, alleged accusations that happen down there. And we have a foreign-owned aluminum plant that has been politically promoted. We have a Rogers County Commissioner that is pushing this because of jobs. He was at the rodeo the other night, he made a big announcement, and the OPA had their box seats, and everybody was so proud to, you know, be there. It made me sick, I'm sorry. Please remember that when you vote in a couple of weeks for the Rogers County Commissioner.
Yes.
I want to finish. A movie crew, I don't know that anyone knows this, but they were east of Inola last week. they're promoting a film. They used the Thompson Mansion and portrayed it as the governor's mansion. The title of their movie is gonna be Lowdown. Let's see where that takes us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shannon. Okay, Deb,
No comment, thanks.
excuse me?
No comment, thank
No
you.
comment? Okay. Now,
I'm not on the list, but may I ask a question?
yes,
Okay, this is just something prompted by Brian's interaction with you. At the last meeting, there was talk about the website and emails, and it was my understanding that the iCare committee was going to be able to have a page on the City of Inola's page and have access to emails, and now you're saying that's on the committee. Is the city council going to dedicate any resources to this committee, or are you just giving us a committee because we asked for it?
have you had a chance to read this resolution?
I did.
Okay, okay.
I don't see anywhere in there where the city council is devoting any resources. And I think that us asking for a link on your website and email addresses that the community can reach out to, I think that's a small ask. And it was my understanding that was something that was a possibility. And now I'm hearing tonight for the first time that you're not interested in doing that. And so it just has me wondering.
Well, one thing with giving it an email address that would give access to the city, we don't have control over somebody else's computer that could get a virus that then could affect the city's computer system. So if we had an email address that we gave to somebody and then somebody hacked their account and that it would come into our server, it could, we could get a virus into the city system and crash our system. So by allowing that to happen, that could shut down the city's entire system by giving them a city access there.
Interesting, okay.
Thank you. Okay, gentlemen, have y'all read over this? Have you?
Yes.
But I have a question for Thomas or Brian. On this committee, would it be better to ask for volunteers rather than us appoint? I have trouble with, if I appoint somebody and they don't vote or the right way, that they're out with 150 signatures.
We had put this in that manner so that each of you would be able to pick the person you felt was right for the committee, that had the interest of the city council and with the citizens, that blend, that merge, if you will. So our hope was that each one of you would have an idea of, I think this is how I would like this to be, and this is the person I think that best represents what you feel each individually of what you would like to see accomplished. And that's why I think it was important for each of you to, make that determination of who it would be. And then, like they say, this 150 verified signatures, it's really that committee that has to do their job. You're putting that person out there because you're giving them your vote, giving your confidence that they're gonna carry through. And if they're not, then, the 150 signatures from the residents would be if they absolutely do not listen or do not act or don't have any bearing on this committee, and to do the suggestions that's coming from the citizens. And I think that's important for that to come from you all as a group, as the city council, to basically not elect, but to have that person that this is who I have a direct contact with you, Larry. If you, for some reason, had said, I want Brian to be, then I have a way to reach out to you and go, hey, I want to run something by you. And I think if we have a volunteer, then I don't think we'll have that personality that we can actually reach. And I think that's why that's important.
Yeah.
I would say, a portion on my side, if I could speak on it, this is separate from the committee I was talking about. So ours, the steering committee and kind of the full industrial park advisory board, that I think you should just slow play right now and let this take its full form. That committee, I think you'd have to look at something different, and it's gonna be more volunteer based. For what Brian's wanting to do, I see what he means about the appointment. If your question is more so on the 150, I don't know enough about the census of what the population in the Inola School District is, to know if that's a good number to set as a bar. I don't know who the best, I think you guys would be the best choice to say what that bar should be. But I get what they're saying by associating that with you as the council member. This committee is more so for your advisement, so it kind of ties you closer to this committee. It's separate from the steering committee, which I think you have to make more independent. So I think this is a good approach for this committee. I don't think it would be as good of an approach for the steering committee that I recommended. And that one I think we can just bring up after this is fully up and kind of on its feet. No rush on the other committee.
Thank you. Gentlemen, you got comments on this?
I see Larry's point to the deal, you know, sometimes people make decisions that are unpopular, and it doesn't take much to raise a, for lack of better terms, a witch hunt, go after people. But you know, with any of this stuff, we can change it as we go along if we need to. Most of this stuff is living documents, so if we needed to, we could make adjustments as we went on if we run into problems.
Can I add something? I think if somebody has interest that maybe isn't here tonight, but hears about this committee and says, hey, I think I'd be good at that, or I can speak to, you know, like we talked about in the past, fire and safety, or I can speak to environmental or chemical engineering, right? That they have that background, but that there be a centralized system, and as I had asked, icare@inola.com, but whatever that email address is, something that funnels to you guys to say, well, hey, I have interest, and here's my expertise and what I can bring to this committee that maybe you weren't aware of, to then appoint those people also, that maybe you don't have somebody in mind.
Yeah, and that's a good point right there. So I think once that we approve this, that, applicants, that people who are interested in it, they can send that into the city, and we can review that if we have somebody in mind that we want to talk to. But at least, you know, we could actually go through all the applicants, and if somebody's in those applicants right there that we see that would be valuable in that, because I want people in there that's going to be very valuable, who can give good information, not just somebody who's just going to be a negative Nancy all the time and have, you know, open views for everything. And so, you know, that's very important for us to have people who, different backgrounds, like Tom's, you know, background. You know, everybody has some really good backgrounds, and everybody has a different view. You know, that's one thing right there is having a view and having an open view and not a closed mind. That's what's really important about having this committee, is people being open-minded and wanting to listen. And then once it's created, that they're willing to listen to everybody else and get, you know, collaborate everything together.
Yeah, so, and a little subsequent question on some of these administrative tasks, right, that can, after you guys choose to adopt or not the resolution, to what, like, can we get that out to, who to send that to, what format, is it like a fill form application, I have interest here, here's my experience, what those administrative tasks look like after adoption, so that we don't, or will we have to wait another 2 weeks for the next town meeting to establish those?
I think once that we would create the committee, that the committee would kind of direct everybody there. And as you see there will be a liaison, you know, from the Board of Trustees there, that then they will be able to communicate to the Board of Trustees.
Right.
Yeah.
I'd like to remind you that this committee is for the future. Whatever we have coming in to our town, new businesses, new this, new that, that's what this committee's for, okay? That way everybody can look at that everybody can look at that. We have a new barber shop going in. Do you think that barber shop's needed in Inola? That's what y'all's gonna tell us. Y'all gonna see, okay? Do we really need that? Would it benefit us? I'm just using it as an example, okay? Just whatever. That's what this committee's gonna be for. Okay? For Inola and for the future. So, I would like to table this until the next meeting. I'd like for us to think about this, go over this, fine tune this resolution to benefit everything that we wanna cover for this committee, okay? And that's my thought on it. If you all would like to agree with me, to table it until the next meeting, let's go through it, let's read it, make sure that we have a resolution that we want to
Yeah.
benefit
I agree.
everyone.
Well, I like your ideal because I think finding 5 that are, you might say, neutral is gonna be the tough thing. I mean, I couldn't be on it, cause I've already said I'm for it if it's safe. I couldn't be on the committee. And some of you all couldn't, because you're against it. Finding 5 people that will be unbiased on it is gonna be the toughest thing. So I think your ideal of getting, you might call them volunteers, and and they can lie or whatever, but that's gonna be, to me, and I don't know, I'm not picking on you, Taft, but you're real smart and you've got lots to do with what we're talking about. He may be a good one, but he may say, well, I'm really against it. And it's gonna be tough to find 5 that are unbiased.
Yeah, I mean, right now might be the right time to mention it. I think you asked me the first time that this was brought up, that you might appoint me and consider that because I'm neutral. And I think I misunderstood that, because I'm not neutral to the smelter.
No.
But as far as that goes, as far as your argument, that you can be neutral in argument based on evidence. So as far as finding people
Well,
for or against it.
and that's the problem I have, is the evidence, because I see it in different ways.
Well, right, and that's just where.
I know
the
it, but
evidence
like
and-
Janet was talking about people moving out, and I'm sure they are. But if you look at Mount Holly, where the plant was built to start with, the people moved in. And now there's thousands within a mile of it.
Can I say something about that, cause I'm familiar with that area? Okay, what happened there is, Mount Holly is a suburb of Charleston, essentially, and Charleston grew. And the property values everywhere around there went up, and everybody wanted to be in Charleston. And they couldn't get property in Charleston, so they went to the next place, and the next place, and the next place.
But they moved there.
They moved there.
Well, it was a smelter.
They moved there, and now their properties are ruined. But they
It
moved.
doesn't look like it.
They moved there.
They moved there, but that's not been,
All right, now but
and they've got a grade school within a mile with 1,000 students in it.
and they're in the news because of their environmental disasters.
Well, hey, to my
See,
point.
that's where we disagree.
What, hey,
because
bring
they're
the
not.
document, the studies, the tax receipts for those counties and put it on paper. It doesn't matter how you feel. It's not about if you're for or against it. It's what's on paper. It's documented evidence. That's.
But if it was so bad, that place should have been shut down, and it's not.
Okay.
Well, and I
Now-
think we're kind of missing the point here. This is not just for the smelter.
That's
It's
right.
for all businesses that's gonna be coming in
That's
here.
right, this
This
is not
this is what's
just for
hot
that.
on everybody's agenda at the point in time, but this is for anything and everything that's gonna be coming in here.
Yes, yes.
And-
It's
and-
not for just that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you have the other things. You have your Stop the Shelter. You have that committee. You have your meetings and things like that. That's not what this is for.
I think I mentioned at the last meeting, what we envisioned, so we've had many people stand up and express their concerns about their property values going down, about all these other things. What we envisioned with this committee was that they explore those issues and they come up with solutions of things that could be added into the development agreement where we have teeth in the development agreement. This particular committee was not suggested so that we could regulate every business that wants to come into Inola. iCare has to do with the industrial section of the port and coming up with solutions to address citizens' concerns about it going in. That was the genesis. That was why we suggested this. And now it's morphing into something that we didn't ask. We don't want to debate whether we need a barber shop or not. We want to talk about how do we negotiate in the development agreement guarantees for property owners. How do we negotiate in the development agreement? It was mentioned that they're going to do self-reporting. Well, you know what? Maybe we negotiate that they don't self-report. Maybe we negotiate that they pay for third-party reporting. There are a lot of things that we don't want to fall between the cracks so that we are left trying to scramble and address later. That is why the iCare committee was proposed. And to say that everyone on the committee has to be unbiased, that's not accurate. You can have someone who's for the smelter and someone's against the smelter. The language was carefully crafted to say they have to be respectful and willing to talk and have an open mind. Because what we envision is you present them with the data, and if you don't have a closed mind and you're open to the data, that there can be a consensus agreed on some things. So you don't, to have a good, healthy committee, you want a diversity of opinions. We don't want 5 people that hate the smelter. We don't want 5 people that are for the smelter. And the reason that we put the recall mechanism in there is if you have someone on the committee that's completely intractable and they don't want to talk and they don't want to discuss things, then they're not fit, they're not a good fit for the committee. And so then you replace them with someone who is going to have opinions about the smelter, but they're open to the data. Like Beth said, let's bring in the tax rolls. Let's bring in the evidence. Let's instead of going off of, hearsay, let's look at the reality of it and let's come to data-driven, supported solutions. That was what we had in mind.
Thank you.
I would just like to address what you were saying is you had mentioned about tabling it, and I would like to have that voted and to go forward, because the quicker that we get this established, the faster that we can get these people in place that we need to help with our community. That's the number one thing this committee is for the benefit of the citizens of Inola and the industrial facility. It is not just simply to stop the Inola smelter. It is for a paint company that's gonna come in and be galvanizing. We already have all these things in place because we've learned from the lessons of here's what we need to know, here's what we need to do, here's the reporting. All these things that we are working on to now is what we're looking to build. So I would just ask that if the committee sees to go ahead and vote on this and get this approved so that we can move forward. And I do think that applicants could, submit in, hey, my name's, Joe, this is what my background is, this is what, I think I can bring to the table, and you guys could be able to sort through those and probably come up with a list. And we actually even talked about this, that we want somebody that's a pro smelter to be on there because we want their input, because if they see something we don't, or we bring something to them, that's the collaboration that we're looking for. This is for the benefit of the citizens I know, and not just for stopping something. We're not against economic development. We just want the right thing for the town and for all the people that are here. It's not just no. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's just a real quick question. Do you have a timeline for signing the development agreement with the smelter?
I don't know anything.
Scott?
Scott?
The only thing left to do is the tip, agreeing to the final tip document. I don't have a timeline on when that's gonna happen.
Have they even purchased the property yet?
No.
No, they haven't even purchased the property yet.
Okay, then I have a question then. At one point, I had said, can't you tie the emission control into that tip? If it hasn't been signed, can't you have them lower their emission output? that they've asked for? Can that be put in there?
The TIF, the base TIF document has been agreed to and approved. We did it here in this meeting several months ago. Putting it into a formal contract is all we have left to do, and the parameters for that have already been agreed to.
So that can't be changed?
We can ask, but we're not in a position to bring something new into the deal unless the other party wants to.
I agree with what, Elizabeth, CBA, is that what you called it? Now, that's what, Christina, you're talking about. And I agree with that. I agree that we need to set parameters on what Taft said about self-monitoring. We need to have we've talked about, I agree with that. That needs to be in writing. If it goes, folks, it needs to be a third unbiased monitor.
Okay, I'm gonna
So,
step in here for you.
I can, some of that's what Brian's talking about, is getting some of those things same way you're talking about in place. And look, I'm hoping that 425 is not gonna be there. What they have told us, it'll be at 24 instead of 55. Because that's their plant in Dwight. And at 2030, it'll be 25% lower, which would make it 0.18. So,
I'm
now,
gonna get back to this resolution, okay, if y'all don't mind. That's,
you're gonna table it,
yes, I am. I'm gonna make a motion to table this until the next meeting.
but we're gonna go ahead and start getting volunteers or people with let's call it a resume. A resume that want to be on the committee. And
I think we could go ahead and allow it to start sending in resumes, and then, once we do vote this in, then we can start, looking at the resumes at that point in
And
time.
we need to pick our person. And then all four of us will have to pick one that we will vote on, because we need 5.
Yeah.
So each
You're
one.
wanting to pick a person tonight?
No.
Okay.
But that's the way, if we don't have 5 board members,
Mhm.
one has to be.
Once we approve this resolution, that we'd already have
Mhm.
people with, their resumes in,
Okay.
that we could pick each one of us pick our person,
Mhm.
and then,
That would be fine.
unanimously vote on the
So
fifth.
I'm gonna make a motion that we table this resolution until the next meeting. Also, I'm gonna make a motion that we take and start, applicants.
It's not on the agenda.
Oh, I can't do that, yeah, it's not on the agenda. I'm sorry.
Can I just informally tell everybody to send them to you? Will that be accepted? We all just share it publicly?
Yeah. I make that motion to table this until next meeting.
Second.
Earlier you made the motion, second by Dan, Larry.
Yes.
Mark.
Yes.
Dan.
Yes.
Darlene.
Yes, thank you. Number 4, town administrator update.